Hi, 7th grade humanities students. I wanted to take a moment to go over with you the background research that you're going to be doing for your civics and citizenship project, specifically as it relates to politics. Some of the tasks on this Hyperdoc will be completed during class time, and some will be remote work. Please contact your teachers if you have any questions along the way, or if you have trouble with any of the links. Remember that this will be your background work for the next month, okay? So when we open it up in Cami in just a few minutes here, it might look very lengthy, but again, it is your work for an entire month, okay? A lot of this will help you solidify where you're going to take your project, what you're going to be doing, okay? So your project will link to something on this document. And then this document is also how we're meeting learning targets. This is you showing progress, demonstrating progress towards mastering those learning targets. So let's go ahead and open this assignment with Cami. And as it's loading, I just want to remind you that all of your Cami tools are over here on the left-hand side. That's how you're going to navigate them. And when you come in, don't forget that the select up here on the left-hand side really helps you navigate this document, okay? A couple things to point out before we get started, and that is that this is structured in a way that you should be familiar with in terms of the construct, express, and act, okay? So we wanted to keep that familiar to you. So you're gonna work left to right, moving from construct, then to express, and then to act. The other thing to point out is that notice here in the gray bar section that relates to your origins, your structure, and your function, your functions of government, specifically as it relates to politics, okay? So there's 11 tasks on here total. And I just want to walk you through each one so that you know exactly what it is you're doing. Before we do that, you'll notice that up here it says use the dictionary feature in Cami to help you define any words in red. Now, you can use this dictionary feature to define any word on this document, but the words in red are the words that we thought would be helpful for you to actually use this feature. So as I come down here, I'm going to notice, oh, here's a word, unprecedented. So if I go over here to dictionary and I have to click on it first, then I can click on the word that I need to help defining, okay? And I'll notice that unprecedented means, oh, it's never been done or known before. That's cool. All right, when I have that in my head, I'm going to X out of it and move back up here so that we can go over this document. All right, so task number 1 has to do all with America's founding fathers. You'll notice that there are 2 articles to read. The first one is about the founding fathers' vision. Okay, so when I click on that, it's going to take me to a National Geographic article. I'm going to read through this article. It really is not that lengthy because it gets down. It's only it's really not lengthy at all. What's cool about it though is that right here you'll notice that if there are some vocabulary that you come across, here's some definitions for you right in this article, okay? So be sure to use that feature. Like if I'm not sure what a compromise is, here it tells me exactly what it is, okay? All right, moving back to my Cami doc, I'm going to then move on to the second article, which is just 14 little known facts about America's founding fathers, okay? Just some interesting things to know about them, some things you probably didn't know before. So once I finish constructing my knowledge here, I'm going to come over here to Express. I'm going to choose 2 key excerpts or quotes from article number 1 and summarize them. And then I'm going to include whether or not I agree or disagree with each excerpt, okay? So right here, I'm going to use a text box to fill in my quote, okay? Then I'm going to put another one in here for meaning, okay? And that is my summary of what I think that quote means. And then I'm going to then talk about whether or not I agree or disagree with the idea of that excerpt. From there, I'm moving on to act. And here, when you click on the link, what you're doing is you're choosing one of the founding fathers to research more in depth. So this link actually takes me to all the different founding fathers that worked on our Constitution. And maybe I'm really interested in learning a little bit more about George Washington. I know a little bit about him. I know he's the first president of the United States, but I'm sure there's other things that I don't know. So I'm going to read through his biography so that I can come back here and include information about him in either a slideshow, a poster, maybe I want to make a wee video about him, or write a newspaper article, okay? And then I have to include these 4 things. So use this as a checkbox, okay? So the first thing is I need to have my founding father's name somewhere in this small project, okay? Then I need to have an interesting fact. I need to talk about their contribution to the Constitution and their impact, the impact that their contribution has on society today. What I'm going to do then is go back to my project, okay? So again, this is like, think of it as like a little mini project. So what you need to do when you link it here is first add in a text box, okay? And then you're going to paste your link right in there. But before you even do that, you're going to need to change the share settings on that project, okay? And so when I come up here to share, which is that blue box in the right-hand corner, you'll notice that down here it says get link. You want it to say exactly what this says right here. Anyone in the Moyle South Supervisory Union can view this link, okay? So you want to make sure that that is the setting that is turned on, okay? You're going to copy your link just by pressing right here and then click done. You'll come back over here. And again, like I mentioned, you'll put your text box in there and then paste your link right in. All right, from there, we're moving on to task number 2. So here you will notice that there are 3 articles linked, okay? We want you to choose 1 to 2 to read, okay? This first one deals with how our political parties were first set up. That was Federalists versus Anti-Federalists, okay? You're gonna read about what they both stood for. This article references early US politics. And then finally, the roles of political parties, okay? What you're doing with all of this knowledge is you are then answering these questions, okay? You'll notice that some of them are just kind of fill in the blank, and others you have to be a little bit more detailed and specific, okay? Like these last 2. Describe 2 things you learned about anti-federalists, describe 2 things you learned about federalists, okay? Make sure that you're answering those in complete sentences. Once you finish with that task, you're going to move over here to reflect on this information, okay? And so you're forgetting what you know about the success of the Constitution, okay? And what you're going to do is talk about whether or not you would have been a Federalist or an Anti-Federalist, okay? And you want to detail the reasons for your answer. And again, you have constructed that knowledge by using these articles in the construct section. If you can either type your answer, it could either be a written paragraph, or you could simply record your voice. And remember, that's under comments. I'm going to click on this microphone. You can tap anywhere you want that to go. And if you scroll over here to the right, you'll notice that it is recording my voice. When you are finished recording, you will just hit the stop button, okay? And then it just kind of lives there. If for whatever reason you didn't love your first recording, you can go ahead and X out of it and just simply redo it. All right, task number 3, growth of political parties in the US. Now, you'll notice that there are 3 different resources. We want you to look at all of them because one is an article, one is a video, and one is just a comparison. So the comparison is pretty cool because it takes you through what does each party stand for, okay? And if I scroll down here, I'll start to make sense of their philosophy, their economic ideas, their social and human ideas, so on and so forth, okay? And so I'll read through that in an effort to then answer the questions in construct, okay? Um, and these are more just like, thinking about the information that you just read and saw. You know, why, like, do you favor a two-party system? Why or why not? Okay. There are 5 questions in this section, or 4 questions. So be sure that you make sure to answer all of them. And then after that, you're going to reflect on this statement in the form of a flip grid, okay? And the statement is right here, okay? And you're basically saying whether or not you agree or disagree. Now, notice that I was not on the select feature in the Cami document, so it was recording my voice. I'm just going to click out of that one. All right. When you click on this Flipgrid link, it will take you to a sign-in page. Make sure that you sign in with Google, okay? And then alternatively, you could use this QR code. If you do need the join code, here it is right here, okay? So you have access to all of that information. All right, moving on to elections and terms. Again, we have 3 different resources and different types of resources. So we have an article, a video, and this electoral decoder, which kind of shows you how electoral votes have changed over time, okay? So you're going to use all that information, and you're going to answer these questions, okay? And then once you finish answering the questions in this construct part, you're going to go to this Jamboard. And what you are doing is you're stating all your reasons for the Electoral College to determine our president. So determine all the pros, like why would it be good to keep the Electoral College intact, okay? And then when you scroll up over here, notice that there's 2 kind of frames, okay? So when you go to the second frame, you're going to write down all the reasons all the pros for the popular vote to determine our president, okay? And again, you've learned all of that knowledge through the construct pieces, okay? If you do need access to those resources again, they are posted right here on both frames. So you can just simply copy and paste this right into your browser. This one will take you to the article. This will take you right to the video. And this will take you to the electoral decoder. All right, once I finish that up, I'm going to head on down to task number 5. Now notice that task number 5 starts my structure, okay? And so we thought it was important for you to kind of understand the political spectrum of the world, like how does it all kind of line up? You'll click on this slideshow, and the way that you're going to navigate this is with these arrows, okay? So this will take you right to the end of the slideshow, but we want you to read through all the different slides, okay? And so you're going to continue reading, processing, making sense, okay? So that you have a good foundational understanding of the political spectrum in our world. You're going to then use that knowledge to answer these questions, okay? Notice in this section too that we have quite a few words in red. So if I needed to look up what libertarianism is, I click on that dictionary feature and here it is, okay? Advocates for minimal state intervention, all right, and free market. All right, notice that there's not a task for the ACT section here because you've done a lot of reflecting already here, okay? All right, task number 6 deals with political parties in other countries, okay? So again, we wanted you to get the worldwide view of political parties, because believe it or not, in other places in the world, they don't necessarily have just a two-party system. So when I look at this left-hand navigation, I notice that it has pretty much every country of the world. Maybe I'm interested in learning about Peru's political system. And what I notice is that, hey, Peru looks like they have 2 pretty strong parties. But when I look down here at Romania, looks like there's really only one. That intrigues me. I want to know more about this one party, okay? So I'll click on it and I will get some more information, okay? So you want to read through that. And then what you're doing with all of that is you're actually going to do a Venn diagram, okay? So you're going to choose two countries to compare and contrast their political parties, and you're going to use this Venn diagram to do it, okay? As you will recall, when you look at a Venn diagram where the two circles overlap, that's where you're going to put all the things that those political parties have in common, okay? And then where they don't overlap, that's where you're going to record what's just specific to each different party, okay? You're going to record the country and the name of the political party for the first one over here, and then for your second one right here. You are then going to record your answer. So you're going to have to make a copy of this Venn diagram, okay? So remember that in order to make a copy, I can just go right up here to File, Make a Copy, okay? This now becomes my own document, and maybe what I do is I put my initials so I know that this is mine now. And then remember, you're going to have to link this back into the Hyperdoc. So remember those share settings that we talked about earlier. Here's where we'll be able to demonstrate to you once again how to change the share settings so that everybody can access it. So remember, when you go up here to this blue share button, and just taking a few moments, you're going to click on share. Again, you want to make sure that anyone in LSSU with this link can access this document, okay? And so I apologize, my connection is very slow today. My Wi-Fi connection is pretty slow. But you're going to change. So it's just, notice how it says anyone on the internet can look at this link. You want to change it to anyone in our supervisory union, okay? So click on LSSU. Once you do that, you'll copy the link, okay? You'll add a text box here, and then you will go ahead and paste your link right in, okay? From there, what you're doing is then using this Jamboard to reflect on the 3 characteristics or qualities that are important to you in choosing your political affiliation. All right, so just doing that directly on the Jamboard. From here, we're moving on to branches of government. So again, we have 3 different resources that we want you to go through. One's it's a short video. This infographic from Scholastic Magazine, that should be review for you because we've used that on a past Hyperdoc. And then this one is specifically about how to become president in the US, okay? What you're doing with all of this information is basically what we call a 3-2-1, okay? And you're going to respond to these prompts. 3 specific things that you learned, 2 questions that you still have, or 2 things you might be wondering about, and 1 thing you found interesting. From there, you're going to play this iCivics game, and there's nothing really to do with it except to play the game so you can kind of start to wrap your head around the different responsibilities of the president, okay? Moving on to cabinet members and departments. Again, one of the biggest responsibilities that the president has is nominating his cabinet, which for some positions, the Senate has to confirm it, okay? So this article actually is a comparison between the last 3 administrations and how their cabinets stacked up in terms of diversity, okay? And so you'll go through this website, take in all the information. You'll look at the this article, which has to do with the different cabinet departments, okay, and all the different departments that kind of the president oversees. And then you are going to complete this express section, okay? So this is multiple choice, true, false, fill in the blank, short answers, okay? From there, you're going to do some reflecting. How important do you think it is for a president to have a diverse cabinet? And you're going to explain your thinking in one of the following ways. It could be a written response right here. It could be a voice recording. Remember, you'll go up to that comment feature. It could be a poem or a drawing. All right, moving on. We're now down to the function section, which is the last section of our Hyperdoc. And task number 9 deals with the issues. Okay, when I click on this article, this is cool because this was recorded back in 2016. These are the different issues that are important to students back in 2016. So clean water was a big one. Free in-state college tuition. At the time, we were having the big Brett Kavanaugh, who was he was appointed by President Trump to become one of our Supreme Court justices. So that was a big thing back then. And so you'll read through all of that. Specifically, outline 3 things that you learned, 2 questions that you still have, and 1 thing you found interesting. And then what you're doing is choosing 1 issue that's important to you. You're creating a short, a very brief public service announcement to kind of get the word out about it. Okay, and you can do that in the form of a wee video or a poster. Be sure to include why you strongly believe in this issue, and then insert a link to that mini project right here. Task number 10, voting. So you'll notice that we have 3 very, very brief videos, okay? All having to do with voter ID and ID laws and Voting Rights Act, okay? What you're doing is then looking at this chart in the Express section to kind of compare and, just how this has changed over time, how voting laws have changed over time, okay? And then you're going to answer these questions, okay? Then you're going to do a little free write. How does this information make you feel? Do you think our voting system is set up fairly? Does it work for everyone? Please capture your thoughts in a paragraph or recording. Finally, we're bringing it back to some current events and conflict. So this has to deal with the impeachment process and trial. The first video just talks to you about like how the process of impeachment works, okay? It's a pretty formalized process. Then there's an ed puzzle that deals specifically with Trump's second impeachment trial. And notice that ed puzzle is not linked in this Hyperdoc. So what I have to do is go back to Schoology in this politics folder. And that's where I will notice that it is here, and I can be able to get that up and complete it straight from here. You don't have to link anything, okay? But what you do need to do is complete this Express section and then Act. So in the Express section, all you're doing is another 3, 2, 1, 3 things you learned, 2 questions you still have, 1 thing you found interesting. Again, please be specific. And finally, you are conducting a poll. You want to ask any 10 people. These could be at home, at school, the following questions. All right, and there's 3 questions. You're going to then indicate how many people responded correctly to each question. If you encounter any difficulties, if you're having trouble, please do, once again, reach out to your teachers. We'll be able to help you. And I hope this did help. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we will see you in class.